Welcome to Behind the Bloom podcast. I'm Jay Schwanke, the flower expert, fourth generation florist, and your guide to living a life in bloom. You might know me from the PBS show Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom, or from my workshops, books, or appearances. But here on this podcast, we're getting even more personal.
And I'm RJ Pohl, producer and co-host of the Behind the Bloom podcast. I've been a fan of Jay's for years, and I'm so thrilled to be joining him on this journey to dive deeper into Jay's life in bloom.
And that's what this podcast is all about, digging deeper into life in bloom. Here, I'll be sharing not just tips and techniques for arranging flowers, but the stories behind the episodes of Life in Bloom, and stories from my flower life. Things I've never really had the chance to share on television. We'll talk about the episodes and how they came to be, what inspired them, the behind-the-scenes fun, and even a few mishaps that we somehow managed to make look graceful on camera. There's a philosophy behind Life in Bloom, and it's not just about flower design. It's about joy, health and wellness, empowerment and creativity, and yes, finding a connection to nature and to each other every day with flowers. My hope is that this podcast becomes a space where we can slow down together, where you can listen while arranging flowers, or maybe while you're out for a walk, or just taking a break with a cup of tea. I want it to feel like a friendly visit with a special friend, where we both leave feeling a little lighter, a little more inspired, and maybe with a new idea to try. Thank you for joining me. I'm so glad you're here with us, Behind the Bloom. This week on Behind the Bloom podcast, I'm excited to share a little more about my flower world with all of you. I'll be talking about how I first fell in love with flowers, the inspiration behind my show Life in Bloom, as well as break down what you can expect on our podcast. I'll also be diving into my books, Bloom 365 and Fun with Flowers. In fact, I'll share one of my favorite tips straight from Bloom 365. Tip 21, grab a bucket. Trust me, you'll definitely want to have one handy after this episode. RJ and I also talk about what he loves most about Life in Bloom. And together, we'll explore creative ways to discover flowers beyond your own backyard, like visiting a local farmer's market or connecting with a flower farmer nearby. Plus, I'll share a few of my go-to tips for getting your flowers home safely and setting them up for long-lasting beauty. And this is just the beginning. Every episode of Behind the Bloom will be packed with more stories, tips, and flower inspiration. Okay, let's get into the episode and go Behind the Bloom.
All right, well, welcome everyone to Behind the Bloom. Jay, I'm so excited to be here with you and kick this off with you. So maybe you're a fan of Life in Bloom, the people that are listening, or maybe you're just kind of finding us for the first time. We kind of talked through in the intro. Jay has his TV show, has books and appearances, and you've learned so much about him from the intro. But we're really trying to get kind of behind the bloom and learn more about Jay as a person, too, and kind of talk all about your life and kind of what went into all of this. So Jay, just to kind of kick it off, this being our first episode, we're excited to hear kind of your background. How did you get into flowers? How did you get to where you are today?
And the most charming story is a true story, and it's very cute and very sweet, but I was born at a flower convention.
Wow.
I'm a fourth generation florist. So my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my dad and mom were all florists, and we worked together in a flower shop. But my mom and dad ran the Nebraska Florist Society, which was an association for all the florists in the state of Nebraska. There was like 466 of them. And my dad would run these quarterly events for them, and they were like one would be themed to Christmas. This one happened to be March 7th, 1960. It was a grower's school, and it was teaching people how to grow different flowers and different plants, or even cut flowers in their greenhouses. And so my dad was running, he was the association executive, and my mom was like the secretary. And so she was typing everybody's name badges at this hotel. And all of a sudden she was like, my water just broke and I'm gonna have this baby.
Oh my gosh.
And my dad's like, okay. And he said, well, have you looked outside? There's like a snowstorm and there's like 19 inches of snow and I don't think we're going anywhere.
Oh my gosh.
And sure enough, they had closed the roads and they paged the front desk and there was a general practitioner there who delivered me in room 386 of the Hastings Hotel. And I was the new product exhibit. So I was literally born like smack dab into this flower family. And it was just a wonderful experience for me because it was, you know, it was all I ever knew. I mean, we lived in greenhouses. We lived right next door to the greenhouses. So when you got up in the morning, you go out in the greenhouse. I go find my mom and dad. There was even like my mom and dad would go to work, and I was asleep in the nursery, and there was a like a telecom thing in there, a speaker, and they would just leave it on. And then when I would wake up, my mom said I used to wake up and say, "Somebody come get me." And somebody would come from the flower shop and get me out of bed and take me out of the crib and then, feed me and stuff. So it was very much like a part of my life. And so I think it was just it set me up for what I'm doing. I mean, perfect. It was a perfect opportunity for me to have it be that way. The other thing I think is that, you know, being part of a family flower shop and growing up in it, my grandpa was always tutoring me. The people who worked for us were always tutoring me. It was what I did all the time. And so it was just a really, really great beginning. And it was where I ended up. All these people that I interview now on my show or I go to these flower farms, I've known these people since I was a little kid.
Wow.
And so, many times it's a mentor or it's a friend or it's a family friend and an inspiration. And I think that that's part of it. And so as a kid, also I watched my parents would work all the time. They'd work till, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. And then we would go eat. And every night we ate at a different restaurant, and crazy stuff like that. But on Saturday nights, we would watch Carol Burnett. And I would always say to my mom, I want a television show like this. And my mom would say, "You're not Carol Burnett," you know? We will get in over the period of time. My mother and I had a very, very, uh, adversarial
Oh,
type of a relationship. My mother and father were revered and loved by the flower industry. They
okay.
were. They were wonderful people, and they gave their entire lives to it. But my mother was highly competitive, and I am, I guess, a little bit, maybe not a lot, but, so we had a very what I call a Judy Garland, Liza Minnelli relationship. It
Okay.
was always kinda like, "This is how you should do this. This is the way you should be doing it. I don't like the way you're doing it because this is the way I do it." That type of thing, and she was very similar to me. She was an educator. She traveled around the country. She gave programs to florists, and so, it was always just kind of that way. And so I would always just say and I said, "Well, I'm not Carol Burnett, but I mean like a show like on television," and
Yeah.
and she would just be like, "Whatever." And, but it was funny because then, I was working at Disney, for we did these they had hired me to do Mother's Day presentations where we made flower crowns
Oh, cool.
and then gave them away, and people would wear them through the park, and it was on Mother's Day weekend. It was a free event. It was
Oh,
back when Disney World did free events. And that year I was there for the first time, I was there with Genevieve Gorder from
mm,
Design on a Dime, and she was giving a presentation across the hall, and, I went over and I said, "Can I get a picture?" And I told her, "I just always dreamed of having my own show, and you have your own show." And she goes, "Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something right now. You wanna be on public television."
mm,
And I was like, "How come?" And she said, "'Cause if you're on, like, the home the Home and Garden Network or TLC or something like that, you only get about 3 years to do it, and you don't get to control it. They take you in, and they fabricate your story, and you have about 3 years to be the star, and then they kinda channel you out, give you a product line, and that's about it." And she said, "If you wanna control your show, which it sounds like you should from your storyline and what I'm hearing you deliver, you should go to public television." And that was the kick in the butt that I needed to go in that direction.
okay.
And then I was asked by P. Allen Smith to guest on his shows.
Oh, cool.
And so it was really cool. It was cool because P. Allen Smith's farm is incredible, and he is, just an amazing force of public television. And so I would go there and we would bring all kinds of flowers, and my sponsors would send flowers for us to do, and we would go there and make flower crowns, and we would do all kinds of stuff like that too. It
Oh.
was really fun. And Alan one day said to me, "Is there a way that you've done so much to help us. Is there a way that I can help you?" And I was like, "Well, I've always wanted my own show on public television." He was like, "Oh, you know what? You need to do this, 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 and then I'll be all done." And
Okay.
I was like, "Okay." And I was like, I did this, 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 and this, and sure enough, it happened.
Wow. That's
And
incredible.
so it was his help as well that was really, really helpful, and then I would have to credit Kelly too because Kelly has watched so much television in his life.
Okay.
He just you can ask him about a show and he'll know about the show or he'll know who the person was or he'll recognize the character from a show that was on another show, and he kinda has this sixth sense about television, and so being the producer, he helped create the show that we have today.
Okay. And for the listeners, Jay, can you share who Kelly is
Oh,
just for
yeah, so
people?
oh, sorry,
Yeah.
yeah. So Kelly is my husband, we've been together for 30 years, and he is a graphic designer by trade, has his own graphic design business, but he is also the executive producer and writer and, Jay Wrangler and supervisor. I mean, I joke about that, but it is I you know what? We're sitting at my desk. Hang on half a second. This is my favorite picture,
Oh, look at that.
and it's him sitting in the back of a room where I was giving a presentation. And I have it on my desk because that's when I feel the safest, when he is there and he is listening. Because after I would give a program, we would go to dinner and we would just have a whole download of what I did and how I could do it better, how I could do it differently, phrasing something differently. And he listens to make sure that what's up here is coming out of here correctly.
Okay.
And so that's the other big giant, star that makes this all wonderful. So yeah.
I feel like Jay, when we first met, you were so like right away told me all about Kelly and how important he is just in your collaboration and
Right,
everything.
right.
And since we've gotten to know each other better, like I totally see it. It's like you two are just like work so well together. Each have your own role, and kind of pushing everything forward together. And it's been
It's
like
true.
amazing to see your collaboration together. It's really really fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mm,
true. It's true.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Well, so I also wanted to ask just, what would you describe is a life in bloom then?
So I knew that I wanted this show. I've been around flowers my entire life, and I know that flowers make me feel good. And I also know that some people ask me all the time. I'm 65 years old. And so people say, "You don't look like you're 65."
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, and they're like, what's your secret?" It's the flowers.
Oh,
It's being surrounded by something that makes you feel good all the time. And my dad was the president of the Society of American Florists in the period of time when they were the American Floral Endowment is an endowment fund that my father helped start with 5 other gentlemen, and they gave funding to Dr. Haviland Jones, who worked with Rutgers University, Boston University, Harvard, to do studies about how flowers make us feel and how they affect us, and those were done, like, in the '70s and '80s. And they're still relevant today, and I knew I wanted to implement those. They're on our website, ubloom.com/research, and I've compiled them there with other ones. But there's this proven scientific studies, many, that make us aware of how flowers affect us. They make us feel happier. They make us, if we're sick and we get flowers, we get better faster. If they're yellow flowers, we get better even faster. Homes that have flowers in them have less arguments. Seniors who are surrounded by flowers are more apt to get medical attention. They have less stress in their lives. It can enhance memory. It reduces our own stress. It makes us feel that. That's one of the things that we'll cover in this whole podcast that we're going to create is that it's about what those do for you. And so I felt it was important to educate. Number one, public education television is about education, educating people about flowers, their health and wellness benefits, and how to include more of them in your life, thus creating a life in bloom.
I love that. That's
So, yeah,
incredible.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah. That simple mission statement, but and it works well. And that, it really it's really truly an evident thing. So yeah.
Nice. Well, I wanted to just give a little bit of like my backstory as well, and just how much I love
Absolutely.
your show so much, Jay, and like kind of how this. And so I am not a flower expert, and far from it, but I love your show so much, and so I live in I kind of use your show almost as an escape, and so my wife and I live in an apartment, so we don't have a garden, and we do a little bit of flower arranging just as a hobby, but I feel like I just put on your show just to relax and go transport into a different place, and it's just your enthusiasm is so contagious. And so I turn it on and I just love seeing, I don't know, your enthusiasm, the flowers, everything about it is just so nice. And it kind of gives the same feeling as Bob Ross. I feel like I think you don't have to be a painter to appreciate Bob Ross the same way that you don't have to be a flower arranger to appreciate you, Jay. It's just a very like special show to watch and just kind of it warms you up and puts you in a place. It doesn't matter what's happening in your life, what's going on in the world. I feel like I can put on your show and it just transports you into this happy place. So I just wanted to thank you so much for your show
Well,
and for
thank
collaborating with
you,
this. Yeah.
but also thank you so I mean, complete transparency for everybody. You called me and said, "Why don't you have a podcast?"
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
was like, "'Cause I don't know how to do that." And you were like, "Would you consider doing one with me?" And
Yeah.
I love that idea. And we hit it off immediately.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's just the way that, as I told you, that's the way that my life happens. And I'm so thankful because thoughts become things. And flowers are that. I watched Bob Ross and I watched Mister Rogers as a kid,
Yeah.
and we got to film at Bob Ross's studio.
Yeah.
That's an adventure we'll talk about somewhere along the line too, but
Can't wait to talk about that episode.
yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And so I think that overlay is kind of what happened. And, it was interesting because we started the show and we were just trying to get it out there. And we went to a WKR in Lansing, Michigan, and asked them to distribute for us. Because when you create a show for public television, you have to find a distributor who's willing to distribute it to other stations. And so we went there. We went to our own WGVU. They did not. They said, "We'll put it on our show, but we don't want to distribute for you. We don't do that." So they sent us to WKR, who does do that. In the distribution process, they showed it to American Public Television. And American Public Television said, "This isn't like a little local Michigan show. This is a national show." And they stopped us for a year and made us go get national funding, which we got from Albertsons Companies, the grocery store chain. And then they said, "You need to release this nationally." And so after a year of releasing us with through WKAR said, this is the funny story, but I do love it, and it's true. So, and this is what you're going to hear here is I'm going to tell you the truth. I mean, we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. But WKR just kind of came to me and said, "You're a lot of work. You're kind of a perfectionist, and you're a lot of work, and
What?
this is harder than we thought. And so we're really not interested in season 2." And
What?
I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's 2019 or end of 2019." And so I went to American Public Television. I called my friend Judy there, and I said, "The WKR doesn't want to do our show anymore." And she said, "Oh, what are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't have any idea." And she said, "Give me 10 minutes. I'll call you back." She calls me back in 10 minutes and says, "We're going to distribute you through American Public Television."
Oh, cool.
And I was like, "All right." And so away we went even further and faster. The point of the story was then when the pandemic hit, our show was on because we're a member of the American Public Television Exchange Program, which means we gift our show to every station nationwide free of charge. And we do that through our educational foundation. So we have an educational nonprofit foundation that supports the health and wellness benefits and education of flowers. And we produce it with that. And then we pay for it for all these stations. So they can put it on whenever they'd like or as many times as they like. Well, the pandemic hit and people were unplugging and going and getting rid of cable, and they were watching public television, and they found this show that calmed them down, just as you said, when we thought our world was gonna get sick and die.
Yeah.
Everybody was.
Yeah.
And the show became so popular, and the letters just started coming in. And we we have had growth every single year. Our show has been on for 7 seasons, and we're headed into season 8. And we're in 98% of the country in all 50 states. And it's wild,
That's
you know.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And I think for the reason that you said, it calms you down, it allows you to escape. And we had a marathon this weekend on Create TV. We were on for a 5-hour block on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I had a marathon because the letters, just the emails and everything come in while that's on about how much people love the show. And I return them all personally and talk to every one of them. So, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So that's cool.
Well, so we're in this podcast as well. We're going to go back and revisit each episode. So we're really excited.
That
so
was your idea, and I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're going to have companions to them.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we're going to release the show on YouTube at the same time the podcast comes out on YouTube.
Amazing.
So I love that. It's
Yeah.
going to be great. Yeah.
I love that it's going to be on YouTube. That's so exciting, Jay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we put it anywhere we can,
Yeah.
we can. So that's good.
And so when I first started watching, I would watch on PBS, and then I set like the DVR to record just episodes. And then I didn't even realize you told me about uBloom and that everything is also available on uBloom. So you can go watch every
Correct.
episode currently on uBloom. Is that right?
That is right. And
Yeah.
always free. So if you go to pbs.org, if you go to the PBS app, if you go to ubloom.com, it's always free. On all of those stations, you can catch up on all the episodes. So that's where there are as a reference point for you. And then with this podcast, they'll be jumping up on YouTube as well. So there's that.
Amazing. It's so exciting.
Support the joy of flowers. The Life in Bloom Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to flower education and inspiring a love of flowers in everyone. The foundation helps fund the production of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom on public television, making it possible for viewers across the country to enjoy the beauty and benefits of flowers. The foundation also provides free flower education to high schools, colleges, and floriculture programs through ubloom.com, helping students and future florists bloom in their own careers. Your donation in any amount makes a difference. Plus, all contributions are 100% tax deductible. If you'd like to help us continue sharing the power of flowers, visit thelifeinbloomfoundation.org to donate today. Thank you for your support.
So in addition to the show, so you've written books as well, Jay. So I think part of you're a busy man. Yes.
I'm a content machine is what some people say. So I guess that's okay. Yeah. I have a really good graphic designer who is able to make beautiful books. And both of the books are award winning, which is really a proud thing for us. Fun with Flowers contains 48 of my favorite recipes for flower arrangements, and also my flower friends and my favorite flowers. And then in that book, we put in some tips and tricks.
Okay.
Just some of my favorite tips and tricks. And that was what people loved about that book.
Oh.
And so then Kelly and I had the idea to make Bloom 365, which is 365 tips for helping you arrange flowers all year long. So it's like an essential guide to, doing that. And I think we're going to have tips and stuff on this show too, because I am the tip guy. I years ago I did some books for inside the flower industry that was called 1,001 Ideas and 1,000 More Ideas, that I had friends all from the flower industry send me their favorite tip, and we compiled them into these little books that we sold at flower conventions.
Cool.
And so then we took the best ones that are so applicable to arranging flowers in your own home, making your home more beautiful, whatever it is, holidays, things like that, caring for flowers, cutting gardens. We compiled that into that book. Fun with Flowers won the Living Now Book Award, and Bloom 365 won the IPPY, the Independent Publishers, for Home and Garden, the first time ever that we won gold that year for Home and Garden with a flower arranging book.
Wow. Cool.
So yeah, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
And Bloom 365 is unique. It has 12 different covers.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, so Kel's also a big comic book guy, and so we did variant covers like they do with comic books.
Cool.
And it was really cool. So yeah, it was wonderful. So that's great.
How did you determine who gets the different covers? Is it region, or is it just by chance?
No,
or?
you can order them online so it's an independent book. So we have it in our bookstore at ubloom.com, and you can order the cover that you'd like.
Oh, cool.
I will tell you this, Sunflower is sold out. That's the one that sold out first. But we did a big event one time with Albertsons grocery stores, and they bought all of our Sunflower ones for for their employees.
Cool.
But we have the other ones. So there's gladiolas, there's tulips, there's gardenias, and so there's lots of different ones. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, should we get into some of the tips then? I think, yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
I think there was one tip in particular you wanted to start with, right?
Grab a bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think that water is such an essential thing for us. And I think that we don't think about wherever I get flowers, I am always taking a bucket. So, in the back of my car, I have a place for a bucket to sit, and I have a plastic bag in there to wrap over the top of the bucket. So it doesn't slosh everywhere and
Oh,
go everywhere, right? But so I fill that bucket up with cold water and I fill it up with flower food and put flower food in there, measure it accurately. My preferred flower food is Kreisel Professional 3. And you can buy it online. They have a website called kreiselflowerfood.com. Kreisel, that's the hardest part about it. Chrysal, kreiselflowerfood.com. But um, this Professional 3 is especially designed to make your flowers last longer, to make the color be more vibrant, to make the fragrance be better, to keep the leaves green, and to make the flower last and open the vascular system so that it takes up water. So when you buy flowers, if you buy them at the grocery store, if you buy them at a flower market, if you buy them at a farmer's market, if you're cutting them in the garden, take your bucket with you so that once it's cut or once it's pulled out of water, it goes immediately back into water. For every minute that it's out of water, it loses an hour of vase life. So if you leave your flower out of water for 30 minutes driving back to your house from the farmer's market, you're going to lose 30 hours of vase life. That's over a day.
yeah, yeah.
So what you want to do is take that bucket with you. And so even when I go out early, and the best time to cut flowers in the garden is just before the sun comes up. So just as it's coming up, I'm usually out there 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in my time. That's six. Well, let's see, six. It's 5 o'clock your time because we're an hour apart,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
6
but
or 4
but
o'clock
we're
my time.
4 o'clock your time. So 4 o'clock. It's getting light at 4:30. It's getting light at 5:30 here. So 5:30, I'm out cutting those, and I'm putting them into that cold water in the garden, and then I bring it back inside and let it sit in that water for a couple hours. I think it's really important, that when you see that little sachet that comes on your flowers, that flower food is designed for your flowers. And there's a lot of rumors and a lot of weird things about, put a penny in it, put an aspirin in it, put some 7-Up in it, put some, whatever. All of those things are derived from why that food is important, but it doesn't do the same job. And there's like vodka. I think the only reason that you would put vodka in your flower food water is to kill the bacteria.
Hmm.
Probably. That's a really big waste of vodka.
Yeah.
I, you know, so I mean, and the little flower food does a better job. So in that flower food, there's an antibacterial agent. There's a vasodilator that makes the vascular system open up and take up more water. There's a pH controller to give it the perfect pH. And there is, what am I forgetting? Did I say something to reduce bacteria? So, and a flower food.
Okay.
So I think flower food, control bacteria, pH controller, vasodilator. When you're 65, there's a Rolodex, and you have to go through it when you're searching for all those things.
Well, you
And
probably
the
don't get
Rolodex
put on the
gets
spot
fatter
either.
and fatter. Oh, no, that's all okay. But I mean, so it's designed essentially for that. So there is a flower food in there. And that flower food is a citric acid. So I think that's kind of why some people say the soda. But also, there's more bactericide in a can of soda than there would be like in a bottle of vodka.
In the soda? There's already
Yeah,
bacteria?
so that a bactericide,
Oh, I understand.
so
Okay.
that the sugar in it won't cause it to
Okay.
mold.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why it can sometimes be valuable. But I'm just get those little packets. The little packets are perfect, and if you use them accurately, always follow the directions on the back. They will make a liter of water. So a liter of water, this will be one packet of flower food. And that one packet of flower food for that liter of water, if you use too much or too little, it won't act appropriately. So always measure it exactly because it's going to help it last longer. Actually, if there's too much, it will last less. If there's too little, it will last less. So, yeah, you're better off to measure all the time.
Where are some of your favorite places to get flowers?
Well, right now we're in farmers market time,
Oh, yeah.
and I love the farm. We were just walking down the farmers market the other day, and I said to Kelly, there's more flowers at this market than I've ever seen before in my life. And that's really heartening because I love the fact that people want to sell the flowers that they grow and that people come and you see the people walking through the farmer's market carrying them and taking them home. I'm dragging my bucket. I have my bucket and I have them in my bucket. But people are still walking around with them. And I think that that's a wonderful thing. Farmers markets for seasonality, your proximity to market, how close you are. A friend of mine who wrote the foreword for Fun with Flowers, Deborah Prinzing, who runs Slow Flowers, talks about slow flowers, flowers that are close in proximity to where we live. They're going to last longer, and you're enjoying the seasonality of something that's grown from your neighbor. I love a grocery store too, because grocery stores buy their flowers direct from a flower shop or from the flower grower, wherever that flower grower may be. And so proximity, not proximity to market, but length of time to market is shorter there
Okay.
sometimes. I love a professional florist. I love a professional florist because they can get anything you want just about any time. Because any professional florist is a global resourcer. So, like you might say, "Hey, I want peonies." Well, your peonies, my peonies, Chicago, Grand Rapids have been gone for a long time. Not in Alaska. They're just starting to bloom this week. So a local florist can get those Alaskan peonies to you and you can have peonies in July.
Oh,
That's
cool.
amazing. So I think that global resourcing is also super important. Um, and then I love my garden. I have a cutting garden and just the flowers that are blooming right out here right now. I got hydrangeas out there. I've got black-eyed Susans. I have hostas. I grow lots of hostas because I love to use that as a foliage. So that's also helpful but like you said, sometimes you don't have that option.
Mhm.
You can't grow them yourself. So farmers markets, and also these we just last week, coming up in season 8, uh, what do they call that when I tell you something that's gonna
A teaser?
yeah, a teaser for season 8. We went to Idlewild, Flower Farm, which is in Ionia, Michigan. It was adorable. So they sell flowers at the farmer's market on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays here in Grand Rapids, but you can go there on Friday evenings, and $20, they give you this big metal pitcher, and you can put as many flowers as you want to in that. You cut them yourself.
Oh, cool.
And it's wonderful, and it's so cute, and they also have regenerative farming. They have these big pigs, big giant pigs that are so cute, and they're named after their 2 kids' favorite composers. One is named Felix, and one is named Amadeus, and then there's a 3rd pig named Gale.
Oh.
What's not to love about a pig named Gale?
Yes.
And so when they've finished cutting a row, they will expand their pasture, and then they go through and they eat, and they root up and it's regenerative farming with their manure to get it set for next year. Ah, it's adorable. So, like, you pick flower farms in your area, look for those. They also do this thing with their next door neighbor is Dream Goats, and in the spring, you can go do a you pick and cuddle baby goats.
Oh.
Why would you not wanna do that? Hello, perfect. So, yeah, and in the spring, when they release the goats into pasture, they walk the goats through their flower fields, and so you can go on a goat march with them too. They did so I mean, just fun things. So, like, I would Google in my area, "You Pick Flower Farm." That's a great place to go, you know?
Amazing.
So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's all around us all the time. We just have to dig for it.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so used to just, like, kinda going to the grocery store, which I know is an option too, but
Sure,
I wanna definitely start looking at, yeah, some more options around me.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
It was very interesting during the pandemic, the flower sales in grocery stores went through the roof because I think and I'm gonna claim some credit. We were on TV, we were on every day of the week, and people were going to the grocery store to get the things that were necessities and saying, "I'm just gonna buy some flowers and take them home," and they found out that having those flowers in their home made them feel better, and I think that that's a wonderful resources because we all end up at the grocery store once a week, pretty much,
Mhm.
or once every 2 weeks, so why not get flowers same time? Perfect.
Love it.
Perfect.
Well, I think we're getting close on time here, Jay.
Alright.
Yeah,
Okay.
this has been so much fun, and I'm so excited for upcoming episodes as well.
I am as well. And thank you, RJ, for being a host with me and taking me on this incredible journey with you. I appreciate that. I'm so thankful for everybody who watches and everybody who listens. And we're going to make this fun. I'm going to help you enjoy flowers more, and we're going to have companions. There's a lot of stories, believe it or not, that go with each one of these episodes.
I can't wait.
So we will be able to do that.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us this week on Behind the Bloom podcast with Jay Schwanke and RJ Pohl. If you loved what you heard, be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And share it with a friend to help us spread the joy, one bloom at a time. Thank you for taking the time to slow down with us. And hopefully you left feeling a little lighter and inspired to try something new. Make sure to join us next week for a brand new episode. Thanks for being here with us, Behind the Bloom. Hey, just one more thing. If you love flowers, you've got to check out ubloom.com. It's the online home of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom, where you can stream every episode for free. Plus, you'll find Behind the Bloom videos, my blog, show recipes, and so much more. There's also a massive video archive, over 1,800 how-to videos, flower farm documentaries, and even my very first series, JTV. All Life in Bloom episodes, exclusive web content, and farm documentaries are totally free. Just sign up with your email. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there's a paid subscription option that unlocks the full library of how-to videos. Everything from creating bridal bouquets to centerpieces, corsages, and more. Tons of content to explore. You're gonna love it.